We talk security now. No fewer than 30 traditional rulers across the southern area of Kwara State have fled their palaces following a sustained wave of kidnappings, killings, and violent attacks. The affected monarchs are seeking refuge in urban centers, including Ilorin, Osogbo, Offa, and Lagos. While some have been away from their domains for months, others have been out for nearly a year. Their displacement, triggered by repeated attacks by armed groups, has created a leadership vacuum in their communities. To discuss this, we're joined by the Director General, International Institute of Professional Security, Dr. Tony Offa. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the news.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. I'm grateful for having me.
You're welcome. So looking at the patterns playing out now, especially in Kwara and Kogi of late, is this the beginning of a wider systemic assault on vulnerable communities? Of course, probably echoing some patterns that we saw in the north, or we have actually seen in the north and the middle belt. Of course, those places that have been hollowed out for a couple of years now.
Well, the signature of the terrorist is just the same all over. There's nothing new that is happening in Kwara State, except for the fact that this become a lesson because Kwara actually allowed some of these things on the ground of religious sentiments. When you allow people to surreptitiously stay in your villages under the pretext that you have the same religion, and they are there for some time, they may not look injurious, they may not act injurious until they have the capacity and capability to act. I'm sure you saw what happened also in Sokoto, the Lakura saga, apart from what has been happening in the north as a whole. These are all orchestrated agenda, basically, which are based, as far as some of us are concerned, on two major agendas, mineral resource, and of course, the other one has to do with the religious aspect of it. Some of these things are not new. The government, so far as some of us are concerned, has not really shown the political will. The attitude of the government seems to still be the same. The advancement and the campaign of the terrorists has not actually changed fundamentally.
Okay.
And why it has not changed fundamentally is basically because the resistance is still relatively low vis-a-vis their attack. We expect that apart from the marching orders, avalanche of marching orders that we have had from presidency, apart from the emergency meetings, we had number one and the service chiefs coming together, having emergency meeting and all those stuff like that.
Yes.
We have not seen all those accumulate into real action.
All right,
and when I say real action, I mean real. Yeah.
Yes, we're still going to hopefully talk about the role of government in this. But then, of course, you're a security person. I want to look at it from the military aspect. You said it's been a lesson. And we've seen that military operations have hit terrorist enclaves in some areas, of late. Despite that, kidnappings, killings, coordinated attacks have even intensified. What is the lesson there, and where is the disconnect between what the military is doing and Nigeria's security response and the current reality?
I think the major connect, there are two major aspects. The connect has to do, or the disconnect has to do with being reactionary rather than being proactive. Then the other one has to do with the full use of intelligence, as it were. The war against terrorism is not just this, it's deeper and bigger than even cancer as it is now. At a time we were comparing terrorism with cancer. I'm saying that it is cancerous. But now we have a system wherein the terrorists has even moved it far above and beyond that level. The military formation, to what extent are they working with the intelligence agencies, the NIA, the DSS, all relevant core, when I say core, I mean core intelligence agencies. Now, why I say intelligence agencies is because These are the agencies that have the raw data, the raw information about how many people are coming to the country that are not Nigerians, what's more probable, what are they linked to, who are they linked to in and outside the country, what most probably will be the agenda, and the time framing within which they most probably will attack, the locality or coordinate of places that they are staying and places that they most likely will attack. You know, they talk about the statistic movement of all these terrorists from one location to the other, the migration and all those stuff like that. Now the intelligence agency will expect that they should come all out and in full to the operatives now
Okay.
on the field, which are the military formation now. Then the question is, to what extent is this symbiotic relationship? If that symbiotic relationship is not there, you will keep having this disconnect.
Yeah, so Dr. Ofoeto, amidst these security lapses, we cannot shy away from the fact that rural life is collapsing. Villages seem not to be safe anymore. Communal structures are breaking down. Families are fleeing. Even local economies are grinding to a halt. Now, these incidents are now edging closer to the southwest. What are the warning signs that we are ignoring here?
No, you know, I've said this before and it's not new. When I mentioned some states at a time, it sounds as if one is being a prophet of doom, but that's not the case. Oyo State is going to have its own fair share because Oyo State is rich in gold. So Oyo State most probably is going to have its own fair share. It's a campaign that Oyo State most likely will be the next point of call. And don't forget that Ogun State also is very massive. Ogun State is a borderland. It's always a very good escape route, apart from the fact that it has its own fair share of mineral resource. Now, to what extent is even the military formation able to have its own intelligence? Where do we have high level of mineral deposits in the south and the north? Now, look at all these places. I've said this in time without number. Apart from the religious campaign, apart from the political connections, apart from all this, the economic aspect of it is born out of the fact that we have government, we have individuals, we have multinationals, we have foreign organizations that are interested in some of these natural resources. Whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not, it doesn't make any difference. If you go to Dr. Congo, which we call Democratic Republic of Congo today, it's said to be the richest country in Africa and also, unfortunately, paradoxically, the poorest country in Africa. Why? Because those that are interested in, the mineral resource in Africa is what is being used in funding developing countries. And that is the way it works. It is now left for you as a country to be conscious of that fact and decide through legislation, through serious military intervention, to protect your mineral resource against scavengers. Scavengers, and they don't care about how many people die in your villages. It has been there from the era of slave trade down to the era of the cocoa and all those stuff like that. We are talking of lithiums today. We are talking of solar panels, solar battery, and all those stuff like that. These are things that are very common. Lithium as in very common in Nigeria. It's not a matter of propaganda. It's a truism.
Dr. Ofoeton, even while we passionately, discuss this as it regards Nigeria's mineral resources, don't you think that probably there are also internal saboteurs who are aiding these violence and ransacking of our villages?
Of course, there is nowhere, there's no way they said that the thief outside cannot successfully operate inside, except with the connivance of the thief inside. So that simply means that when you are talking about, if you look at what happened in the Niger Delta region, during the peak of our oil piracy and all those stuff like that, you will see that what happened is that foreign countries will come. They will come with raw cash, raw dollars, and they will give to the Niger Delta militant boys. They'll give you $300,000. They are bringing a vessel of 2 million barrel vessel, and they are going to buy maybe 500,000 barrel from federal government, but they are going to load 2 million barrel. Now give the boys 300,000, then give them arms. And what are the boys expected to do? Escort that vessel down off the territorial coast of Nigerian territorial water. Now that's their own work. At the end of the day, what happened? We have been surcharged of 1.5 million barrels of crude. Now that happened for a very long. You see the way it works. Look at Zamfara today. Zamfara is rich in all manner of mineral resources. But if you look at who are those that are mining, who are those that are being armed, our boys are being armed. Our boys, are being armed with all manner of arms. And what happened at the end of the day? Some of them are even displaced. So it's a matter of the internal connivance, the exploiters using the greedy ones among us to exploit resources and the like.
All right,
so I agree with you that, yes, all manner of criminals, so to say.
So we are at these critical points where we need to fight internal and external influences that seem to be milking and pilfering away common hegemony. So how do we do that? What are the strategic steps that we need to take to deal with these hydra-headed monsters?
I think first of all, the government should look at the issue of taking over all mining sites. The government should be intentional about it. Take over all mining sites in Nigeria. Then recover all ungoverned spaces. Then clear and comb all forests in Nigeria. The immigration should be intentional about who are Nigerians. Illegal immigrants should actually be asked to get out of the country, at least for now, because Nigeria is more or less like in a very critical and precarious situation as we speak today. The foreigners that are in this country, let us know how many are they, what are they here for, and what are their activities. The police should be intentional about who are the foreigners that they are granting presidential or VIP protection. Now, if you are granting any foreigner VIP protection, let those that you are going to assign to them, let them be intelligent officers. That should be their role. I'm not saying that you cannot grant VIP protection to foreigners and the like.
Okay.
If you look at what happened all over the world, MDs of multinationals, some of them are members of FBI, CIAs and the like, more members of Israeli Mossad and the like. But they will come to your country as MD of multinational big organizations. What are they basically doing? These are things that government know what to do.
Okay.
The question is whether they have the political will or they have the true intention to do it.
So I suppose that's the multi-dollar question right here. Amidst these challenges, the question will always be, how do we deal with our problems and safeguard our people, our facility, and our economy? Well, it's a big question that we hope that some answer will come at some time pretty soon. Dr. Tonio Foyeton, thank you so much for talking to us on the news.
My pleasure.